A boy sits alone in a dark room, hands tied, eyes calm. Before him stands the strongest sorcerer alive, Satoru Gojo. Yuji Itadori, a student sentenced to death. His crime? Becoming the vessel of Ryomen Sukuna, the king of curses. But before that moment, before the world called him a curse user, this is how his story began. Yuji Itadori is not special. He's just a strong, cheerful high schooler who spends his days in the occult club, hanging out, joking, and pretending to chase ghosts. At home, he lives with his sick grandfather, the only family he has left. Before passing away, his grandfather leaves him with a message that will shape his entire life. Help others. Die surrounded by people. That night, Yuji's friends accidentally break the seal on an ancient talisman, a black, rotting finger. Without realizing it, they've unleashed the power of Ryomen Sukuna, the king of curses. When curses attack the school, Yuji runs straight into danger to save his friends. Cornered and desperate, he makes a choice no sane person would. He swallows the cursed object. In that instant, his body becomes a vessel for Sukuna. A wave of cursed energy erupts around him, and for the first time in 1,000 years, Sukuna opens his eyes again. But to everyone's shock, Yuji is still in control. Even Sukuna, the king of curses, can't take over his body. Soon after, Yuji meets Megumi Fushiguro, a first-year sorcerer, and Satoru Gojo, the strongest sorcerer alive. Instead of killing Yuji, Gojo gives him a choice. Join Jujutsu High. Collect all 20 of Sukuna's fingers. And when it's done, die, taking Sukuna down with you. Yuji accepts. He enrolls at Tokyo Jujutsu High, where sorcerers learn to exorcise curses. There, he meets Nobara Kugisaki, a confident girl with a nail and hammer technique, and teams up with Megumi, who uses shadow-based shikigami. Their first missions seem simple: haunted buildings, weak curses. But soon they realize the darkness runs deeper than they thought. During one mission, Yuji and his team face a special grade curse, a monster so powerful that even trained sorcerers struggle to survive. Yuji tries his best, but he's no match. In desperation, Sukuna takes over again, killing the curse in an instant. It's then that Yuji truly understands the weight of the power inside him, a curse that could destroy everything if he ever loses control. And in the chaos, Sukuna rips out Yuji's heart, killing him instantly. Inside his soul, Yuji confronts Sukuna directly. Sukuna offers him a deal. "Let me revive you, in exchange for a pact." Yuji refuses, shouting that he'll never rely on a curse for life. Still, Sukuna brings him back, laughing at his defiance. When Yuji wakes up, the world believes he's dead. But under Gojo's guidance, he begins training in secret, learning to control cursed energy, punch by punch, breath by breath. He's no longer fighting just to survive. He's fighting to understand what it means to live. A special grade curse appears, a monstrous being of molten rock and fire, known as Jogo. It hurls eruptions and volcanic fury at the city, confident it can burn any sorcerer to ash. Satoru Gojo steps forward with a lazy smile. Jogo's lava never reaches him. A space of nothingness, the limitless, keeps attacks at bay. Gojo toys with the curse, then ends it in an instant, showing why no one dares challenge him. That single display of power reminds everyone: Gojo Satoru stands above the rest. Yuji's next mission takes him to the streets of Tokyo, where he teams up with Kento Nanami, a calm, calculating sorcerer who used to be a salaryman. Together, they investigate mysterious deaths, people twisted into unrecognizable shapes. Their hunt leads them to Mahito, a curse who manipulates human souls like clay. Mahito represents everything horrifying about curses. He sees humans as toys. When Yuji befriends a lonely boy named Junpei, Mahito corrupts him, and then kills him in front of Yuji, laughing. The fight that follows is raw and personal. Yuji, filled with rage, attacks Mahito with everything he has. Nanami joins the battle, but even together, they can't destroy him. Mahito escapes, scarred but smiling. Yuji collapses, broken by guilt. He wanted to save everyone, but realizes now that being a sorcerer means facing impossible choices. Time passes, and Yuji returns to his friends at last. The annual Kyoto Goodwill event begins, a friendly competition between the Tokyo and Kyoto schools. But behind the smiles and greetings, tension brews. The Kyoto principal orders his students to kill Yuji, fearing the danger of Sukuna's power. Yet Yuji refuses to hide. He fights with everything he has, and in the process earns the respect of Aoi Todo, a powerful and eccentric sorcerer who calls Yuji his best friend. Their bond is instant, and together they face Hanami, a powerful curse born from nature itself. The fight is one of the most spectacular in the series, Todo and Yuji pushing each other to new heights. But even they reach their limit. Just when all hope seems lost, Gojo arrives. With a calm smile, he uses Hollow Purple, erasing everything in front of him. Later, a new mission comes up. Yuji, Nobara, and Megumi investigate strange deaths linked to a cursed bridge. Inside the domain, Megumi gets separated and faces a powerful curse alone. Pushed to his limit, he finally stops holding back, unleashing his domain expansion, Chimera Shadow Garden, to destroy the enemy. Meanwhile, Yuji and Nobara encounter two cursed brothers, Eso and Keichizu, setting the stage for the final fight. The trio battle together for the first time. Despite being poisoned, Nobara uses her resonance technique to turn the brothers' blood curse against them, while Yuji lands the final blows. The two win. But as the brothers die, Nobara feels the weight of what they've done. After reuniting with Megumi, the trio laugh off their near-death fight. Gojo congratulates them, and the season closes with a tease of what's to come. The story begins by looking back at a younger Suguru Geto, who struggles with consuming cursed spirits through his cursed spirit manipulation. Each spirit he absorbs slowly deepens his internal conflict as a jujutsu sorcerer. At the same time, Utahime and Mei investigate a strange cursed mansion where several people mysteriously vanished. Inside, they become trapped within a hallway that endlessly loops. Eventually, they realize that running in opposite directions breaks the curse's structure. Soon after, Gojo, Geto, and Shoko arrive and completely destroy the curse. Back at Jujutsu High, the group jokes around, but also discuss serious ideas. Geto believes the role of sorcerers is to protect the weak. Gojo questions that logic, wondering why sorcerers must sacrifice themselves for non-sorcerers who rarely show gratitude. Their teacher Yaga then assigns them a special mission given by Master Tengen. Every 500 years, Tengen must merge with a compatible host known as the Star Plasma Vessel in order to maintain stability and immortality. The current vessel is a 14-year-old girl named Riko Amanai. Gojo and Geto are ordered to escort her safely while two hostile groups attempt to eliminate her. One group is the curse users known as Q, and the other is the Time Vessel Association. Gojo and Geto soon locate Riko. During the encounter, Geto rescues both her and her caretaker, Kuroi, when members of Q launch an ambush. While Geto protects them, Gojo handles the attackers outside. However, another dangerous enemy soon appears. Toji Fushiguro has been hired by the Time Vessel Association with the sole objective of killing Riko Amanai. Later, Geto questions a captured Q member while calmly drinking tea. When Riko wakes up, she initially believes Gojo and Geto are enemies, but Kuroi explains that they are actually protecting her. Despite the danger, Riko insists on visiting her school one final time before fulfilling her fate, and Gojo surprisingly agrees. Meanwhile, Toji places a massive bounty on Riko's life, giving curse users 47 hours to capture her. His real goal is not the bounty itself, but to exhaust Gojo over time. At the school, Geto realizes that 2 protective spirits guarding the area have already been destroyed. He fights and eventually absorbs an elderly curse user. At the same time, Gojo discovers Riko inside her classroom, surrounded by classmates who admire her. As they leave the school, they are suddenly attacked by a clone-type curse user. Gojo easily defeats him using the Limitless technique. Shortly afterward, Riko receives a photograph showing that Kuroi has been kidnapped. The group travels to Okinawa, defeats the enemies waiting there, and rescues Kuroi successfully. Afterward, they briefly relax on the beach. Geto becomes concerned because Gojo has not slept in nearly 2 days. But Gojo simply laughs and brushes the concern aside. Once the bounty timer finally expires, they head back to Tokyo, believing the danger has ended. Inside Jujutsu High's barrier, Gojo relaxes and temporarily disables Infinity. That single moment allows Toji to strike. He bypasses the barrier and suddenly attacks Gojo using the inverted Spear of Heaven, fatally wounding him. Meanwhile, Geto escorts Riko and Kuroi to meet Master Tengen. Along the way, he tells Riko that she still has the freedom to choose whether she truly wants to merge. Just then, Toji suddenly appears and shoots Riko, killing her instantly. Overwhelmed with anger and grief, Geto releases numerous cursed spirits, including the powerful Rainbow Dragon. However, Toji's overwhelming speed and his anti-technique weapon allow him to defeat Geto as well. Afterward, Toji collects Riko's body to receive payment. But unexpectedly, Gojo revives himself by mastering reverse cursed technique. Fully awakened, Gojo unleashes Hollow Purple and destroys half of Toji's body. As he dies, Toji reveals that he has a son named Megumi before taking his final breath. Gojo later returns Riko's body, while members of the Time Vessel Association celebrate her death. Furious, Gojo asks Geto if they should simply kill everyone in the room. Geto refuses, disturbed by the idea, despite his own growing doubts. 1 year later, Gojo has fully mastered Limitless, together with the Six Eyes, becoming widely known as the strongest Jujutsu sorcerer alive. Because of this power, he often handles missions alone. Meanwhile, Suguru Geto continues consuming cursed spirits for strength, but the process slowly changes him. His resentment toward non-sorcerers grows deeper with every mission. During this period, he encounters Yuki Tsukumo, a special grade sorcerer who proposes radical ideas for eliminating curses entirely. She suggests 2 possible solutions: teaching every human to control cursed energy, or removing cursed energy from humanity altogether. Geto begins considering a darker path, eliminating non-sorcerers entirely. After the death of Yuhaibara during a mission, Geto's belief in the Jujutsu system finally collapses. Soon after, he discovers 2 young girls being abused and imprisoned by villagers, who believe the children are cursed. Geto kills all 112 villagers without hesitation, declaring his goal to create a world meant only for sorcerers. He rescues the girls and abandons Jujutsu High, Because of his actions, Geto is sentenced to death by the Jujutsu authorities. Later, Gojo confronts him in Shinjuku. Geto openly explains his plan for a sorcerer-only world and mocks Gojo's position within the system. Despite everything, Gojo cannot bring himself to kill his former friend, and their relationship finally breaks apart. Several years later, Gojo meets a young Megumi Fushiguro and learns he is Toji's son. The Zenin clan plans to take Megumi because of his powerful technique, but Gojo intervenes and prevents them from claiming him. Instead, Gojo promises to protect Megumi and his sister Tsumiki. The story then shifts forward to the year 2018. Gojo wakes up and sees Yuji Itadori, Megumi Fushiguro, and Nobara Kugisaki preparing to continue the fight as the next generation of sorcerers. Despite all the losses he has experienced, Gojo places his hope in them. Later, Yuji, Megumi, and Nobara enjoy a rare moment of peace. Yuji suggests watching the movie Human Earthworm 4 together, but Nobara prefers to go shopping while Megumi decides to return home. While shopping, Nobara meets Yuko Ozawa, one of Yuji's former classmates. Yuko used to have a crush on Yuji, but feels nervous about meeting him again after changing her appearance. She wonders if Yuji would even recognize her now. Nobara teases her about the situation and confirms with Megumi that Yuji is not dating anyone. She then calls Yuji over. To Yuko's surprise, Yuji immediately recognizes her and remembers a small moment of kindness she once showed him. The simple memory deeply moves Yuko. Meanwhile, at Kyoto Jujutsu High, Aoi Todo and Meimei speak with Principal Gakuganji about recommending students for promotion to Grade 1 Sorcerer. Todo is excited about Yuji's potential, but frustrated that Yuji cannot yet participate in official evaluation missions. Soon after, Yutahime contacts the Tokyo students and calls them to investigate an abandoned building. She warns them that someone within the Jujutsu community may be secretly working with curses and leaking information. After reviewing the evidence, suspicion eventually falls on Kokichi Muta, the fragile student who controls the puppet Mekamaru at Kyoto Jujutsu High. When the group arrives at Mekamaru's hidden control room, they discover it completely empty. Elsewhere, Kokichi Muta secretly meets with two dangerous figures: the curse Mahito and a mysterious sorcerer who appears to be Suguru Geto. In truth, this figure is the ancient sorcerer Kenjaku inhabiting Geto's body. Kokichi agrees to provide information in exchange for healing his crippled body. Mahito uses idol transfiguration to restore Kokichi's physical form. However, immediately afterward, Kokichi activates his hidden weapon, Ultimate Mekamaru. Inside the massive machine, Kokichi launches cannons and powerful cursed energy attacks at Mahito. Mahito responds by activating Domain Expansion, a deadly space where a single touch can instantly reshape a victim's soul. Kokichi manages to counter it with Simple Domain and fires his most powerful attack. For a moment, he believes he has won. But Mahito survives the explosion, enters the cockpit, destroys the machine, and kills Kokichi instantly. On October 31st, at exactly 7 p.m., a massive curtain barrier suddenly descends over Shibuya, trapping thousands of civilians inside. A chilling message spreads among the crowds. Bring Satoru Gojo. Panic quickly spreads throughout the district. Jujutsu High immediately mobilizes multiple sorcerer teams to respond to the situation. At 8:31 p.m., Satoru Gojo arrives in Shibuya and calmly observes the massive number of civilians trapped inside two layered barriers. One barrier prevents civilians from escaping, while the other blocks all outside communication. At the same time, Yuji Itadori, works alongside Mei Mei and Ui Ui near Meiji Shrine Station. The underground tunnels are filled with Mahito's transfigured humans wandering through the darkness. Yuji soon encounters Cursed Spirit. After a brief but intense fight, Yuji defeats the creature and destroys the object maintaining one of the veils. Meanwhile, the true plan of the Cursed Spirits begins to unfold. By trapping Gojo inside Shibuya, together with thousands of civilians, they force him into a difficult position. If he uses large-scale techniques like domain expansion, innocent people will die. Jogo, Hanami, and Choso attack him. The curses deliberately slaughter civilians around him to distract and anger him while waiting for their ultimate weapon to arrive. Gojo removes his blindfold and immediately overwhelms his opponents with incredible speed. He quickly disarms Jogo and begins attacking Hanami. Hanami miscalculates Gojo's ability and is crushed by the reactivated Infinity technique, dissolving into cursed energy. Despite losing Hanami, Jogo and Choso continue fighting while buying time. Suddenly, a train arrives inside the station, packed with hundreds of Mahito's transfigured humans. Mahito himself joins the battle. Realizing the civilians are about to be slaughtered, Gojo activates domain expansion for only 0.2 seconds. Even within that brief moment, the overwhelming information paralyzes the curses and transfigured humans. The civilians collapse but remain unharmed. In just a few seconds, Gojo eliminates more than 1,000 transfigured humans. Standing alone among the aftermath, exhausted but victorious, he believes the battle is nearly finished. However, the prison realm suddenly appears. The cube opens and Gojo sees a familiar face. Suguru Geto. The sight shocks Gojo long enough for the prison realm to activate. Geto reveals the stitches across his forehead, exposing the truth. The body belongs to Geto, but the mind controlling it is an ancient sorcerer named Kenjaku. Kenjaku explains that he transfers his brain between bodies to steal their techniques. Because Gojo never cremated Geto's corpse, Kenjaku was able to claim it as a vessel. As the prison realm begins sealing, Kenjaku mocks Gojo, saying he has waited 1,000 years for this moment. Even as the cube closes, Gojo remains defiant and smirks, reminding Kenjaku that Yuta Okotsu still exists. Elsewhere in the tunnels, Yuji and the others receive a message left behind by Mechamaru before his death. The small puppet warns them that Gojo has been sealed and explains the structure of the barriers surrounding Shibuya. Yuji is ordered to escape the underground area and inform the other sorcerers immediately. Meanwhile, Yuji continues moving through the city, witnessing the chaos created by Mahito's transfigured humans attacking civilians. In the subway station, he is suddenly confronted by Choso, who seeks revenge for his fallen brothers. Using blood manipulation, Choso launches deadly piercing attacks capable of slicing through steel. Yuji struggles to keep up with Choso's technique. During the battle, strange false memories suddenly appear inside Choso's mind, showing Yuji together with his brothers. Confused and shaken by the vision, Choso retreats from the fight. At the same time, other battles erupt throughout Shibuya. Nanami, Maki, and Naobito confront powerful cursed spirits underground. Their fight pushes them to their limits, as special-grade enemies attack relentlessly. But everything changes in an instant. Dagon activates his domain expansion. Suddenly, they're trapped inside an endless ocean, a space where every attack is guaranteed to hit. Shikigami swarm them from all directions. There's no room to breathe. Even Naobito, one of the fastest sorcerers, struggles to keep up. Nanami is overwhelmed. Maki is barely holding on. They're losing. And then, Everything shifts. Out of nowhere, Toji Fushiguro enters the domain. No cursed energy, no fear, just pure instinct. Inside a domain where attacks are guaranteed to hit. Toji does the impossible. He overwhelms Dagon with raw speed and power. No techniques, no tricks, just dominance. Dagon, a special grade curse, gets completely destroyed. Right after killing Dagon, Toji doesn't stop. There's no relief, no pause, because Toji isn't thinking. He's acting on pure instinct, and his instinct leads him to the next strongest target nearby, Megumi. Without warning, Toji disappears, and suddenly appears right in front of him. The attack is instant. Megumi barely reacts in time, summoning his Shikigami to defend himself. But it doesn't matter. Toji breaks through everything. Defense useless. Megumi realizes immediately, this isn't a normal enemy. This is something else entirely. The gap in power is overwhelming. Toji keeps pushing forward. Megumi is forced on the defensive. And just when it looks like it's over, Toji suddenly stops. He looks at Megumi and asks a simple question. What's your name? Confused, exhausted, Megumi answers, Fushiguro Megumi. And in that moment, Toji remembers, this is his son. Everything changes. Instead of finishing the fight, Toji turns the weapon on himself, ending it, on his own terms. Elsewhere, Sukuna eventually awakens after being force-fed multiple cursed fingers. His presence unleashes massive destruction across Shibuya. Buildings collapse, and entire streets are consumed by flames as Sukuna battles the cursed Jogo. Their clash devastates large portions of the city. Despite Jogo's powerful fire techniques and his ultimate meteor attack, Sukuna easily overwhelms him. Before destroying Jogo completely, Sukuna briefly acknowledges his strength. The curse disintegrates moments later. Completely exhausted from his fight with Toji, Megumi keeps moving through Shibuya. But he runs into someone unexpected. Haruta. Megumi, already injured and low on energy, quickly realizes the truth. He begins the ritual to summon Mahoraga, not to win, but to take his enemy down with him. That summoning it is basically a death sentence. As the ritual begins, the air changes. Mahoraga appears, massive, divine, unstoppable. Before the ritual can fully end, Sukuna intervenes, not to save Megumi, but because he's interested. What follows is absolute chaos. Mahoraga fights Sukuna, a battle between adaptation and overwhelming cursed power. Mahoraga keeps evolving with every attack, but Sukuna slowly figures it out, and in the end, even the unstoppable Mahoraga falls. The chaos continues as Yuji witnesses the destruction caused, while Sukuna controlled his body. Horrified by the countless deaths, Yuji nearly breaks down in despair, but ultimately decides to keep fighting to protect whoever remains. Soon after, Yuji confronts Mahito once again. Their battle becomes brutal and emotional as Mahito mocks Yuji for every death that has occurred. Nobara joins the fight and uses her resonance technique to damage Mahito's soul. However, Mahito manages to touch Nobara with idle transfiguration. Her eye bursts and she collapses, leaving Yuji devastated. Consumed by rage and grief, Yuji continues fighting Mahito with everything he has. Aoi Todo arrives just in time to support Yuji. Using his boogie-woogie technique, Todo repeatedly switches positions during combat, allowing Yuji to land devastating Black Flash attacks. The battle reaches its peak as both fighters push beyond their limits. Mahito evolves into a monstrous new form called the Instant Spirit Body of Distorted Killing. Even so, Yuji refuses to stop. With Todo's help, Yuji lands the final decisive blow, leaving Mahito severely weakened. As Mahito attempts to escape, Kenjaku suddenly appears again. He absorbs Mahito using his cursed spirit manipulation technique, adding Mahito's power to his own collection. Kenjaku then activates a massive cursed technique across the sky above Japan. He reveals that he has awakened hundreds of new sorcerers by altering human brains and releasing cursed objects that reincarnate ancient fighters. With this final move, Kenjaku announces the beginning of a new era, a massive battle between newly awakened sorcerers that will reshape the world of Jujutsu. In the aftermath of the Shibuya Incident, Satoru Gojo is officially declared an accomplice and exiled from the Jujutsu Society. Helping him becomes a criminal offense. Yuji Itadori is once again sentenced to execution, and Yuta Okotsu is assigned as his executioner. As the survivors struggle to recover from the disaster, a darker future begins to unfold. Yuji stands at a crossroads, determined to continue fighting no matter the cost,